All right, y'all, we back with some more unexplained facts about ancient history, right? Today we have a 1,000 plus ton pre-flood obelisk found in Ethiopia. Now, what could that mean? Well, maybe we canvassed the area, maybe some different clues may present itself to tell us maybe how it got there. That's still been a question that's been an enigma for us as far as figuring out how some of these ancient civilizations, you know what I mean, move some of these huge stones and different things like that. There's one thing. Possibly, we could possibly find some tools around there. Maybe they left out some tools to show how this stuff was cut. We're still trying to figure out if this stuff was cut by tools or some type of technology we haven't discovered yet. So this is huge and this is important to figure out all this information. So we're going to check this video out. If you new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and hit that like button for more content. Let's check this out.
The treasury of Atreus, also known as the Tomb of Agamemnon, is an astonishing ancient structure found on the Paganitsa Hill, Mycenae, Greece, which, according to academia, dates back a mere 3,000 years. However, the supposed accomplishments of its bronze-wielding builders is predictably yet to be explained by those who have supposedly accurately dated the structure. Undoubtedly, the most compelling and thus contradictory feature of this build is the lintel. Along with other lesser...
There's a lot of things that's captivating about this, but one question I got for y'all. If y'all think you lived back in those times, this definitely looks like something you could survive, you know what I mean? The elements in, you know, cold winter months, man. You get in here, get a fire going, it look like it's vented. Maybe some other different areas to where it's vented to where the smoke could bellow out. Yeah, I could possibly do this right here.
Known megalithic blocks, which still litter the site. The structure's lintel, found within the build, is currently known to be the biggest ancient stone lintel in the world. This weight-bearing block, which bridges the door's opening, is still, regardless of clear erosion, an incredible 120 metric tons. An inconceivable weight for our ancestors placed a mere century ago, let alone our well-studied Bronze Age descendants, who are supposed to have been responsible for the quarrying and transportation of this ashlar stone, and then setting this enormous stone aloft more than 2 meters, perfectly placing it atop the structure's main opening. With an interior height of 13.5 meters and a diameter of 14.5 meters, it was the tallest and widest dome in the world for over 1,000 years. The precision involved in the placement of these enormous stones once made the interior of the build appear polished smooth. Furthermore, above its astonishing lintel is another intriguing design feature in the shape of a pyramid, also used within modern-day rafters of house roofs. This opening was incorporated specifically to channel excess weight away from the lintel. This design feature was realized as essential for structural integrity and was included to prevent the building from collapsing over time. This addition, we feel, could
beyond smart right there, bro.
Only have been made by members of a civilization who clearly had advanced technical knowledge of load-bearing architectural design, and as such, is indicative of techniques far too advanced for that of our Bronze Age ancestors. This space, which is known as a relieving triangle, is meant to funnel the weight of the structure off the lintel and into the sides, preventing the lintel from cracking due to pressure. Furthermore, there have also long been rumors surrounding the site that it was originally found to have had an interior decorated with pure gold. Do these features sound like the work of our well-studied developing ancestors? Or perhaps surviving work left by an accomplished group who were once part of an advanced, technologically capable civilization?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It probably goes back farther than we even know. Because this right here, this is built off of sheer trial and error. That's not going to work. With some more of that's not going to work. Why? Because I've had this collapse because of this. So we need to put this here, this load bearer here. Like, Like, this comes from trial and error.
We believe that the evidence found at the structure is simply unexplainable when attributed to a primitive people. As such, it is highly likely that the currently attested opinions in regards to its construction are inaccurate and seemingly conspiratorial. How did an ancient people incorporate such enormous stone blocks into their long-lasting precision builds without the involvement of advanced weightlifting technologies? How can certain fields of authoritative study expect critical thinking individuals to believe a purveyed account for the origins of such inexplicable ancient sites, and indeed the civilizations responsible being that of a group just beginning to understand the science of producing smelted bronze? How were they capable of such precision with such gigantic weight-bearing architecture? It is, understandably, a highly controversial ruin, which is clearly highly compelling. At this present time within history in which we find ourselves, there still exists a smorgasbord of ancient, advanced ruins, which can be found all over the world. Inexplicable feats of ancient engineering, advanced as yet unexplained ruins, which we believe are to be found upon every continent of Earth, even including the now buried landmass of Antarctica. Many of these surviving relics remain unexplained due to currently academically claimed chronological timelines for the history of man. A seemingly incomplete story that, due to the funded nature and thus rigidity of such opinion, the general public is sold a fairy tale, with more modern, less capable groups being the only options when it comes to claims as to an origin. However, as we so frequently share here upon our channel, many anomalous features of countless ancient sites all over the globe remain impossible to explain. These advanced anomalies come in many shapes and sizes, yet they are most commonly found to be of enormous size, with clear evidence of the requirement of precision, hardened, technologically advanced tools, often the only viable explanation as to how such constructions were completed. Tools and technologies which our more recent, well-studied ancestors did not have at their disposal, and thus were simply incapable of completing such feats regardless of what academia claims. One of the largest and indeed most intriguing examples of these ancient feats of stone building can be found at the ancient site of Axum within Ethiopia. Originally the capital of the Kingdom of Axum, this enigmatic place is currently understood to be one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in Africa. It is a site we have covered in the past, with our initial focus being upon the as yet unexplained polygonal masonry, which litters its construction, and the clearly advanced nature of its supposed underground tombs. However, there is another area of significant interest at Axum, one which we seemingly overlooked during our initial research. They are known as the Obelisks of Axum. It seems academia is only willing to share publicly a limited overview of the site, conveniently noting only those which are still standing.
As soon as you look at it, all I can say is, how? How? That's the only words that can come out my mouth. How?
Even naming the site the Obelisk of Axum, rather than the accurate plural obelisks.
Let's read it. Weighing 160 tons in the city of Axiom in Ethiopia. It says it has two false doors at the base, features decorations resembling windows on all sides. The obelisk ends in semicircular top part, which used to enclose by metal frames. How?
The Obelisk of Axum, rather than the accurate plural obelisks, possibly in an attempt to conceal the true size and indeed past grandeur of another site, which is known within very small circles of research as the toppled obelisk of Axum. And our suspected motive behind this subtle deception will soon become apparent. The largest still standing obelisk, in which the site is named after, is 21 meters in height and around 160 tons in weight. And although this is still a remarkable weight for an ancient civilization to have successfully worked with, the now toppled broken obelisk is estimated to have once weighed in at 500 tons when originally in one piece. An additional area of interest regarding the design and possible past function of the obelisks is the presence of false doors. These enigmatic features, found at ancient sites all around the planet, most notably Peru and Egypt, were claimed by the Egyptians in particular to be portals, a threshold between the worlds of the living and the dead, through which a deity or the spirit of the deceased could enter and exit. Not only is Axum unquestionably an astonishing ancient ruin, possessing strong supporting evidence for a past highly capable, now lost civilization, but it is also seemingly ignored by an academia who would rather not have to attempt an explanation of these remarkable underlying characteristics. It is undoubtedly highly compelling.
So the fact that you can't figure it out is a reason to just go on to something else? When is that ever, you know what I'm saying? When does that ever help? What does that ever help? Nah, man, we get back to it and trying to figure this out.
There are many ancient anomalies which can be found upon the Giza Plateau, and indeed across much of ancient Egypt as a whole. Many areas which are clear evidence of a highly capable, highly intelligent past civilization who once called this landmass home. Not only are the ancient pyramids a clear feat of incredible ancient engineering, possibly the most astonishing found the world over, but many of the still existing ancient temples are testament to a now lost, yet once incredibly advanced ancient civilization. And although many academics are funded to push the theory that the pyramids, having once been the burial places of Egyptian kings, the truth that we still do not actually know the original purpose for these ancient structures remains. Not only do these structures, along with many other areas, such as the basalt floor found at their feet, still show clear evidence of lost technology, unquestionably left by high-speed, high-rotation stone-cutting technologies, and many of the tombs and other artifacts found throughout the ancient ruins, unarguably once machine-worked upon enormous, as yet unexplained lathes. But there also exist some astonishing features within the record books, documented anomalies within our own antiquity, regarding some of the biggest yet still existing anomalies within ancient Egypt, anomalies that, although are now all but lost to history, have been recorded and documented since our own records began, specifically Roman records. The Colossi or Colossus of Memnon are listed as containing some of the largest megalithic blocks that have currently been recorded and investigated across the world. And although these statues have virtually crumbled over the eons, records of these statues stretches back many centuries, features now largely, and we believe, deliberately ignored by mainstream academics.
When you think you've seen it all, then they hit you with something like this. I've never come across this. Where did this just appear from? And again, you look at it, let's go to a different angle. Look at that. How? You got Obelisk standing or weighing over 500 tons. You got designs and stuff like this. Like, it has to be something, man. We're going to keep looking up.
Now largely, and we believe, deliberately ignored by mainstream academics. These statues once possessed an astonishing characteristic, one many claimed as a divine experience, one which would draw countless individuals on a pilgrimage across the desert to witness at first light every morning. The Colossi of Memnon were built from a single piece of stone each. They are oriented towards the sunrise at winter solstice, and throughout modern study have had a number of fearless individuals expose their true past grandeur to the world. Estimates for the two statues' original weight are most commonly noted to have been around the 1,000 tons mark, with the most famous report within R.T. Gould's A Book of Marvels, 1937, which contained an estimate of 1,200 tons. The statues are made from blocks of quartzite sandstone, which was quarried at El Gabal El Amar, near modern-day Cairo, then transported 420 miles to Thebes. And although modern academia would like to attribute these feats to our more modern ancestors, namely the ancient Egyptians, any logical explanation of how this feat was achieved, or indeed how they were so precisely carved, remains absent from all explanations of these monumental statues, not only their transport and creation, but how these ancient monuments used to sing. Early Greek and Roman tourists who came to hear the sound gave the statue the name of Memnon. Memnon was a hero of the Trojan War, a king of Ethiopia, who led his armies to Troy's defense, but was ultimately slain by Achilles. Memnon was said to be the son of Eos, the goddess of dawn, and after his death, his mother is said to have shed tears every morning. The singing of the statues was attributed to this mother mourning for her son. The earliest written reference to the singing statues comes from the Greek historian and geographer Strabo, who claimed to have heard their song during a visit in 20 BC. The 2nd century Greek traveler and geographer Pausanias compared it to the string of a lyre breaking. Others described it as the striking of brass or a strange, ghostly, almost divine whistling. For more than 2 centuries, the singing statues brought tourists from all over the empire, including several Roman emperors. Many left inscriptions on the base of the statue, reporting whether they had heard the sound or not. Nearly 90 inscriptions are still legible upon their base today. Who created these statues? How were they able to sing? They are clearly an astonishing ancient accomplishment, once achieved by a now lost advanced civilization. Monuments which we find highly compelling.
Visiting that statue, I would have mixed emotions. You know what I'm saying? I definitely would want to visit it for the historicalness of nature of it. But getting there and you having people saying they heard it, it kind of reminds me it would be a good thing and a bad thing all in one, because it's reminding you of the mom who was mourning of her son. You know what I mean? If you hear that singing noise.
From their curious writings made upon cuneiform blocks, there are endless areas of intrigue when it comes to ancient Mesopotamia, a fascinating and rare civilization which had an equally striking appearance, often adorned with trinkets, with tightly braided, often thick flowing hair, with royals regularly depicted as giants. It is also a very special area of interest for our so-called fringe research. The reason for this is that Mesopotamia is one of those rare chapters of ancient civilization which, regardless of all previously noted, has strangely continued to be accepted by mainstream institutions, field studies apparently still flowing. As previously mentioned, this astonishing, and we feel far older than currently claimed civilization, is drenched with marvels of seemingly impossible ancient craftsmanship, many of which near impossible to explain in regards to currently claimed history. The reoccurring theme one finds when another post-Ice Age technologically regressed ancestor moves in to utilize these structures' offered safety will, in turn, leave behind an archaeological timeline. This then allows for an inaccurate and often blatantly ignorant dating, but to muddy said waters, are then met with a detailed, competent reconstruction of said lifestyles, religious beliefs, systems, etc., all in regards to a permitted ancestor, rather than any details or logical explanation as to their technologies or constructions. However, as mentioned, going back to the recurring event we notice is the briefest of these supposed builders' legacies, for when one has laid claim to an antediluvian wonder, the lack of understandings regarding the fortress's strength, or indeed how to efficiently use them, the ingenious design of some of the most impressive fortresses of Peru, Sacsayhuaman, Kulap for example, we posit, if under the control of the original constructors, would have been near impossible to evade and were completely self-sustained. Yet the academically claim builders all seem to conveniently fold within less than a few centuries at most.
I think
However,
we're past the idea of them being capable. At this time, we need to continue to label them as experts. Like this stuff that they're building and we're seeing, look at this wall, right? Look at this, right? Like this is expert level. This isn't no fly by night, just put it together, I hope it stay up. No, 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 no. This is expert. They were experts. So the whole jumping back and forth across the line to say whether or not they were or whether or not they are. No, they are experts, bro. It don't take a rocket science to see that.
completely self-sustained. Yet the
Yes.
academically
Yes.
claim builders all seem to conveniently fold within less than a few centuries at most. However, the subject of most importance, and currently the most compelling exhibits of an ancient advanced civilization, is the nature of many of the artifacts, either recovered or now documented as having been depicted across much of their stone-cut artwork,
Look at the
and
detail.
across Mesopotamia, notably the Assyrian civilization. They had achieved levels of technological sophistication simply impossible to have achieved in the brief, currently attested chronological life of said civilizations. Whether the Assyrian civilization and many others spanning ancient Mesopotamia have indeed been accurately identified, then an explanation for the array of remarkable technologies they had developed becomes a very hard area of archaeology to describe. Scuba divers, secret teachings, sophisticated levels and practices of law and healthcare, and most notably, and indeed the most vital section of the civilization's skill set, their intimate understandings that lay within their ability to create irrigation and agricultural systems, which rival even those of the modern day. These tremendous abilities tend to make us suspect that either the dating of Mesopotamia is drastically off, or these feats of engineering were, like many others, adopted by this later settlement, ultimately decoded and claimed as an invention of their own. Astonishing legends of the past, accompanied by an astonishing level of sophisticated astronomical knowledge, is another crucial factor which not only indicates what we are attesting, but what we feel could have only come from an extremely old source. Tributes to which seemingly found incorporated into nearly all surviving relics. Yet, as if academia claim, this ancient civilization merely wielded stone and very later bronze tools. The question is, how did they create such astonishing ancient ruins? The multi-ton lamassu, a mysterious stone-winged horse we have covered previously on numerous occasions, it seems just like that of the so-called pre-Incas, displayed levels of sophistication, specifically around horticulture, far in advance of what we should have logically presumed to see. It is as if they had a helping hand by a far more ancient yet highly advanced intellect somewhere within antiquity.
That's when they start like trying to say, okay, sneaking the little alien part in there. Well, did they speak with aliens? Did they get this advanced knowledge that they have from another life form? Were they? Like, they find a way to throw that out, but no, man, give them their credit.
These Upart's surviving remnants, memories left by a pre-cataclysmic civilization, once capable of such sophisticated irrigating and building on steep mountain land with ease, we can for now only hypothesize.
Now, that's what I want to see them dive more into, the irrigation aspect side of it.
It is a pursuit we find highly compelling.
Yeah, I want to see them dive more into that aspect of it, the irrigation. How did they do that? What did they do? Like, I'm anxious to see like them really put on full display some of the things and techniques that they used to basically survive. Because at the end of the day, this boils down to survival. You know what I mean? And when it comes down to survival, you'll do whatever it takes. You'll figure out how to do whatever it takes to survive. And it only makes you get better at your craft, at surviving, at your job, whatever it is. So am I surprised? No. it's still mind-blowing to see it and to think with what we have to work with today and what they had to work with back then. And then just seeing the comparison, yeah, as he says, highly compelling. You know what I mean? But y'all get at me in the comment section, man, and let me know what you thought of this video, bro. And stick around and stay tuned. Till the next one, I'm gone. Peace.